Hello my dear friends, welcome. In this video, we are going to see about the integumentary system. Nothing but the coverings which covers the outside the body consists of skin and appendages like hair, nail and glands all together which covers the whole body. We call it as integumentary. This is the picture about the cross section of the skin. So we have the hairs, epidermis. Epi means always it is above. Dermis means skin. Very top of the skin we have this layer epidermis. So and dermis. Below this epidermis we have the dermis, which is the true skin, and hypodermis, which is below this dermis, we call it as hypodermis. So here we have the subcutaneous tissue. Hypodermis or subcutaneous tissue, both are same. So in this dermis layer we have the sweat gland, we have the hair follicle, artery, vein, erector pili muscle, sebaceous glands. So we are going to discuss all about this in this video. Coming to the introduction, the skin is the largest organ and continues at each and every orifice. Orifice means opening, nothing but 7% of the total body weight. Surface area is around 1.5 to 2 square meters. The thickness is 0.5 to 3 mm. Consists of epidermis, dermis and hypodermis or subcutaneous. So we have the dermis, a deep layer connected to hypodermis. And again it is being divided into two layers. Superficially papillary layer and deep reticular layer. Reticulating means very straight fibers will be there in that. So coming to the dermis, papillary layer. So which is a superior layer of the dermis. It has a loose connective tissue with collagen and elastic fibers. So the peg-like projections, the dermal papillae, fit into the reciprocal. For example, this peg will fill into this socket and this socket will fill into this peg. Like that, it is being like a finger-like projections with this layer. Because of that only it is named it as papillary layer. Dermal papillae contains capillary loops and free nerve endings. Next, reticulate layer. So the main layer which consists of elastin as well as the collagen. If you pull your skin, it will be elastic because of this protein called elastin as well as collagen also. Gives the structural strength and cleavage lines, stretch marks, striae, everything is because of this reticulate layers. So we have the papillary dermis and reticulate dermis. In papillary dermis, we can see the extensions, finger-like extensions. This is the papillary dermis, and here we have the reticulate dermis. And epidermis, which is avascular. Avascular means there is no any blood supply to epidermis. We have the 5 layers, that is nothing but stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, stratum basilae, dermal papilla extending into the epidermis. So we have the dermal papilla which will fit like peg and socket. So these are the 5 layers of the epidermis. For dermis we have the 2 layers. For epidermis we have the 5 layers. So again once again, stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum and stratum basilae. So these are again the layers. So we have the 4 distinct types of cells also. We have the keratinocytes, melanocytes, Langerhans cells, Merkel cells. So we have the 4 types of cells in this epidermis. And this is again the picture of epidermis and dermis. So here we have the epidermis, which is avascular in nature, consists of 5 layers. And this is the dermis. Again we have the 2 layers in the dermis, which is papillary layer and reticular layer. Epidermis cells, keratinocytes, produces the keratin for strength. So a very clue or a simple tip for this. So our nails and hair, it is made up of keratin, most amount of the keratin. Because of it, it is very stout and thick in nature. Melanocytes contribute to the skin color. Langerhans cells, which is a part of immune system. Merkel cells, which will detect the light touch as well as the pressure. So these are the Langerhans cells. We have the Langerhans cells here. So this is the squam about the flake of surface. The dead cells will be keep on worn off day by day. So these are the keratinized squamous, granular cell layer, prickle cell layers, basal cell layers and basal lamina. Here we have the melanocytes, which produces the skin color. We have the Merkel cells, which will detect the light touch or a crude touch. We have these cells are dividing cells. So all the layers will come from the basal layer only, basal cell layer. So this division only will differentiate into the keratinized granular layer, prickle cell layers, all the different layers. So Langerhans cells. So these are the Langerhans cells. These are nothing but dendritic processes for antigen presentation. So melanocytes. So these are the melanocytes which will give the skin color. So desmosomes in the striatum spinosum. These are the false intercellular bridges. These have the false intercellular bridges. These are actually not a bridges between the cell to cell. Coming to the next, appendages. Hair. Expect the palm, sole, lips, nipples, a part of external genitalia, and distal segments of fingers and toes, remaining everywhere we have the hair. Next, glands. Sebaceous gland, subauriferous gland, ceruminous gland, mammillary gland, nails. So all these things we call it as appendages. So this is the picture of hair. We have the hair shaft, we have the inner root sheet and outer root sheet, glassy membrane, very outer. We have the cuticle, cortex and medulla. The very outer we have the cuticle, and next to that we have the cortex, and very interior we have the medulla layer. So all this sticks together, we call it as hair shaft. Hair shaft is the long extension of the hair, and this is the hair bulb. So we have the melanocyte, which gives the hair color, and capillary loop. Sweat glands. So sweat, which is nothing but a blood filtrate, 99% of water with some salts, contains a traces of metabolic waste. So we have the two types of sweat glands, eccrine sweat glands and apocrine sweat glands. Eccrine sweat glands are most numerous and produces the true sweat. Apocrine glands confines to axillary, anal and genital areas, produces a special kind of sweat with odor. So merocrine glands or eccrine sweat glands. So these are very numerous in number. These are present all over the skin. Sebaceous glands over entire body except the palms and sole. So simple alveolar glands secrete the sebum, which is a oily substance. These are holocrine secretions. Entire cell breaks up to form the secretion. Functions are softens and lubricates the hair and skin. Because of the sebaceous glands only, our hair and skin will glow. So this is the picture of sebaceous gland. Nail. The scale-like modification of epidermis on the distal or dorsal surface of the skin as well, fingers and toes, which we call it as nail. The parts are nothing but, so this part is the free edge. So we have the body of the nail. This is the lateral fold of the nail. We have the lunula because it looks like a half moon shape, lunula, and epinochium, so our cuticle. Here we have a fine transparent like extension. This we call it as eponychium or cuticle. So scale like modification of epidermis on the distal as well as dorsal surface of finger or toes. And these are the parts. So coming to the cleavage lines or the lines of Langer. So these are nothing but the lines of elastin and collagen fibers orientation as well as the directions on the body. Important in surgery, when incision is parallel to the lines, less gapping and faster healing is possible, and less scar tissue also will be possible along with this cleavage lines. So an incision made across the cleavage lines can gap and increase the time needed for healing and result in increased scar tissue formation. If we are doing along with the across this cleavage lines, if we are doing along with this cleavage lines, we have the less scar and the healing will be so faster. And again, these are the lines of cleavage in the on the face as well as on the head and neck. Dermatomes. Dermatomes are nothing but these are the nerve representation of the spinal cord on the skin, which we call it as dermatomes. For example, this area is being supplied by C4 nerves from the spinal cord from the section of C4 segment. So these are overall the distribution of the dermatomes. It will T2, T3, T4. Skin color is determined by three factors: pigments, melanin, keratin. Albinism is nothing but deficiency or absence of the pigment. Blood circulating through the skin imparts the reddish hue, hemoglobin or oxyhemoglobin. Cyanosis, nothing but bluish discoloration of the skin, which is due to deficiency in oxygen in the blood. Thickness of stratum corneum. Functions of the skin: protection, sensation, metabolism, for the temperature regulation, vitamin D production, excretion, regulation of the body pH, absorption, secretion, and storage. Coming to the applied anatomy, skin color in clinical conditions. Pale, it is due to anemia. Yellow, it is due to jaundice. Blue, it is due to cyanosis. Skin grafts, which split the thickness of the skin, epidermis and tips of the dermal papillae are used. So the full thickness graft, both epidermis and dermis is used in full thickness graft. So coming to the rules of 9, the overall body is being divided into percentages of the 9. So to detect the degree of the burns, for example, estimated to estimate the severity, how much percentage the burns is being happen means they will estimate based on the percentages of the body. For example, if the person is having the burns at the head as well as at the upper limb, 9% to the head and 9% to the upper limb, so 9 plus 9. So the person is having 18% of the bones. The burns are very critical. Over 25% is second degree burns. Over 10% is third degree burns. Third degree burns is on face, hands, or feet. Okay, my dear friends, this is a simplified video about the skin, hair, and nails, as well as the integumentary system, which is nothing but the covering of the body. So we'll see in detail about each and every topic in the later videos. Thank you very much. Please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more biology videos.